I'm your Frightmaster Freddy. She's Ash Von Horror. And today, we'll be talking about Jon Watts' new film, Clown, on this Slice of Horror. In the film, a father who works in the real estate business finds out that the clown coming to his son's birthday party isn't showing up. Instead, he finds a clown costume within the house that he's trying to sell. He puts it on and goes to entertain the party guests at his son's birthday party. However, the horror truly begins when he realizes he cannot take the suit off and has an insatiable appetite. This appetite evolves into a hunger and taste for children's flesh. It is up to his wife to discover the history of the clown and the suit itself to stop the madness that is overtaking him and their family in Clown.
This film has already received negative and positive reviews for the imagery that is involved within the film. It has a lot of controversy behind it because it involves children's deaths and the gore behind it. In fact, in the movie, you don't even see the children actually dying, you see the aftermath, which makes me think of Stephen King's It, where you actually see the children being killed. And I feel like it's kind of a rehash of Stephen King's masterpiece with demonic forces and children being involved, which goes into my other point of with the clown. It's not actually a clown, it's a demonic force to be reckoned with, and this clown suit that he is wearing is actually the skin of the demon.
So this film's been on my radar for quite some time now. It was basically a fake trailer that two dudes made in their basement, slapped Eli Roth's name on it, and all of a sudden Eli Roth sees it on the internet and says, you know what boys, let's make this into a full-length feature film. Since then, Jon Watts and Jonathan Ford have gone on from making Clown to making Cop Car with Kevin Bacon, and now the upcoming Spider-Man Homecoming. It has been a dream come true for these two guys, and it is an epic looking film. The other part that I love about it is they got legendary effects and puppeteer artist Tony Gardner. You may not know his name, but you know his credits. Nightmare on Elm Street, he's done some of the Critters movies, but most famously, he did the Return of the Living Dead corpse that talked to all the guys in Returning the Living Dead for the first time. That's Tony Gardner, and he does the clown makeup for this film. Plus, you can't go wrong with the crazy Eli Roth produced clown film.
As someone who is terrified of clowns, I wasn't affected by this movie whatsoever. I think it's because it's more of a demonic force rather than a clown itself. Demonic forces are not something to be messed with, but I like the mythology behind it. It gave a reasoning of why it is the way it is, and I find that more interesting versus a human in a clown suit just going around killing people.
So you're more afraid of a human in a clown suit than anything else,
yes.
Is what you're saying.
Yes, because as Scooby-Doo said, humans are monsters.
I am totally down with that, actually. That is one of my biggest fears in life, is people are scarier than demonic forces. Demonic forces I can at least understand. Now, that being said, the greatest thing about this film, I think, is that it is a pure body horror in the vein of The Fly. And that is one of the greatest body horror films of the whole existence of time, maybe? Put that out there. Very Cronenberg. I love the transformation of the clown throughout the entire film. I really think that that's what sold it for me. What do you think of it being a body horror, Ash?
I enjoyed it. I think the special effects were awesome in this
Oh,
film.
yeah, Tony Gardner was
The makeup is
point.
fantastic, and it's different interpretation of clowns, I would think. It's not your typical little circus freak.
Yeah, and that when I say body horror, it is very much the transformation, the horror
Yes.
of his body itself is almost consuming him. And in this iteration, it would be the clown suit itself.
Because it's skin.
It is utterly terrifying in some scenes as he's trying to get that clown suit off because he's basically maiming himself in some ways.
Torturing himself.
Yeah, and that in and of itself is the worst horror. But once it gets into the suit actually taking over him and he becomes, as Peter Stormare so eloquently puts it, the clown, that's when it gets 10 times crazy and goes into overdrive. That's when he's starting to eat kids and stuff like that.
And keep in mind, this is not a slasher film whatsoever.
It's not a slasher movie. A lot of people thought Eli Roth, this kind of film, would be a comedy. I think that's a lot of the reason that people are getting kind of put off by this
And
film.
some people were thinking it was going to be, like, hostile gore.
Yeah.
It's not.
Okay.
I mean, there is gore, but
I-
it's not, like, hostile.
I disagree on the fact that you think there's not that much gore because there's straight up a scene where an arm gets thrown down a tube.
Compared to some of the films I've seen, this is not very gory.
You got Tony Gardner behind it. This is a guy who gave us one of the greatest Return of the Living Dead zombies of all time. He's going to throw some gore in there. It's also got one of my favorite deaths. If you have ever hated those little kids that play online games and talk a lot of smack and crap
Huge bullies.
and think they know how to swear, you will get your vengeance in this film. And it is utmost glorious.
It's probably one of the more graphic scenes in the film.
It is, it is beautiful
but the
right
little
there.
kid totally deserved it.
What'd you think of the acting altogether, though?
The acting was not bad.
That was really, I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it was not bad. It's not parody acting. It's not that cheesy acting. They take themselves seriously, but it's not over the top being serious.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that guy who plays the clown himself, that's the other thing too. You're gonna see this movie, and it doesn't take forever to get into the clown storyline.
No slow burning.
It is right there up front, gets right into it, and that's the horror. So at the end of the day, what are you gonna give this film out of 5 stars, let's say?
A 4 or 5.
5 buckets of blood for me, boys and girls. Perfect film. I did not mind waiting. It was awesome. All right, guys, that was our little review on the movie Clown by John Watts. You can check that out
On iTunes, video on demand, and if you're lucky enough, in limited theaters.
She's been Ash Von Horror. I have been your Frightmaster, Freddy Ruiz. And we'll see you next time. Until then, this has been your Slice of Horror.